What's up, folks? This is Adam Downing with Resolve Comics. Keep it locked with Geeks and Noobs.
It's your boy Karim Nerd. So we was talking to the writer, Tuskegee Heirs. But now I'm gonna talk to the guy who brought the image to life.
My name is Marcus Williams. I'm a character designer by trade, but I'm a writer, illustrator for well over 20 years now. So the Popeye that you're looking at, I actually got contacted by the people that own the rights to Popeye. They saw a fan fiction that I did where Popeye and Goku were standing next to each other. So the social media manager contacted me and he was like, "Hey man, we saw what you did, and would you like to do?"
Oh, so that was you.
That was me, yeah. So yeah, he saw that, but it was 2 years later. I did this in 2020. He saw it in 2022. So I'd already moved on to other stuff, but
I know,
I'm
right?
like, absolutely, man. I'm a huge fan of Popeye, so
Facts.
I was like, cool. Who's gonna write it? He was like, well, I read your fan fiction. I like what you wrote there. How about you write it? I was like, yes, absolutely, we can do it. So we talked and deliberated and came up with a concept over the next couple of months, man. And they've just been really cool to work with. So
awesome.
I'm a fan, so I wasn't trying to recreate or redesign.
Yeah.
It's not to say that there's anything wrong with the character in Popeye. I just wanted to show the opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
As a character, he's been stuck in, I gotta eat spinach, beat up the bad guy, eat spinach, beat up the bad guy.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
you evolved into more than just a spinach eating, fighting Bluto kind of guy.
He's that, but if you introduce new elements to the story and the character.
So this is what I'm gonna ask you.
Yeah.
What is your inspiration when it came to these designs? Because I could tell, I could look at Popeye and I'm looking at Goku and I'm looking like, he leaning more on the manga side.
Yes, that's exactly the core. So both Alex is his name, but he's a huge fan of anime, Japanese animation, and the comics as well. So I'm a huge fan of that as well. So like when we started talking about it, Popeye was our Dragon Ball Z before we understood it.
That's true.
We didn't know that a fight cartoon, action scenes and all that, it was a different style, obviously, but
definitely.
That was the Dragon Ball Z of our time period, and for almost 100 years.
Totally.
And it worked for a whole bunch of young boys. So I was like, the reason I put them two together, I'm like, if you just style up, make them contemporary, and you put him in the same kind of stylistic realm, animation, manga, all that stuff, he fits perfectly.
Fits.
Yeah. You don't have to do much to it, but then you just, if you're putting him in that context, the things that really shine about these stories is the writers and how they write the characters. Goku has been growing since he's been a little kid.
Exactly.
But growing in his skill, growing in his understanding how to fight, different things like that.
Did we ever get that with Popeye? Did we ever get an origin story for Popeye?
Oh, I mean, it's real simple in the comic. So in the comic strips, that's how Popeye was introduced. It wasn't Popeye.
Yeah.
It was Olive was the main character. And she had a boyfriend and everything. Popeye was introduced as like a little side character.
Yeah, and then he grew.
He got popular.
Yep.
But he just got featured in one as the ship captain when Olive and her boyfriend went on a boat. And the fans back then was like, yo, we like that dude. And so, but Popeye didn't eat spinach in the comic strip. That was something that was brought in with the cartoon. He was just naturally strong in a comic strip.
And what I'm getting from you is, as an artist, you have to have an idea of the character so that you could build on that.
Well, I didn't know that. They told me that when I started getting onto the book. I didn't read the comic strips, but they started giving me all the backlogs.
That's what I'm saying. So
I'm reading. I'm like, God damn, this is crazy.
I tell you.
But understanding the character, even if it's just what's been in animation over 30, 40, 50 years, right? There's stuff that I wanted to put in the comic that wouldn't work in the comic.
I'm telling you, man.
And this goes back to something that me and Greg worked on. We wanted to work on years ago. This is 20 plus years ago, and it was based on hip hop.
Oh.
And I was like,
okay.
The concept was pretty simple. Is we want to show these characters. They were really cool, but they were rhyming in the comic.
Oh man.
And I was like, I don't like this. I don't want to do this. and I was like, he was, you know, as creatives, we love the idea.
Yeah.
I was like, this is for animation, dog. I don't want to do this in comic. He's like, what's? I was like, if you try to transcribe Biggie Smalls
Exactly.
in a comic book, and you have 5 different people read it, it's not gonna sound like Biggie Smalls.
Because they don't know who Biggie Smalls is and know how his
they're
flow
not gonna,
is.
They're not gonna read it in the same delivery. I was like, there's things that Popeye does in the cartoon where he like mutters to himself.
Yeah.
He's not talking to nobody, but he's outwardly, he's monologuing outwardly, and he's talking about what's going on. I couldn't put that in the book, but I loved that. It was funny, but I was like, it's not gonna work if I put it in the text. So
that is awesome.
But knowing him as a character, that's something that if we go to animation, I'd love to bring that to him.
So let me ask you this question though.
Yeah.
You love to draw.
Yeah.
So when you're not drawing Popeye, I see that there's a collection here.
Yes.
That has more characters. I'm seeing like a blend of different styles. At one point I'm thinking this looks like Disney.
It is.
And then I'm looking at this. This is looking like more of a what you want to call it? Like a Cartoon Network. Goofy version of these characters.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look at this. This is directly from Frank, you know Frankie from One Piece. I mean, I could feel that from each of these designs, and I'm inspired. So I'm gonna ask you this question.
Yeah.
If you was to tell another younger artist, what should he be able to, like, what can you explain to him how to get into this? Like how to get this going?
So first you gotta start with what you're passionate about. I love characters, so I said I'm a character designer first. You can look through this whole portfolio and you'll see character art first.
Yes.
You'll see very little backgrounds. I don't like drawing backgrounds. But as a character designer, what gets me excited, what I'm passionate about is designing or redesigning or coming up with a character. That's where my first focus, like I love Avatar Last Airbender, but there's not enough black people in there. So I'm like, what if there was an African continent in the Avatar universe?
I always say that Earthbender should have been black. We are one with the Earth. But it made it some blind young girl. I'm not being racist. I'm just saying.
So I took that. So that's, as a character designer, I say, well, what's exciting me about the Avatar is the characters, what they look like, what they're designed like. So I'm like, if you just made an African continent in the world of Avatar, what would that look like? What would that look like? What would that look like?
I see what you did there.
Yeah. So that's where me as an artist, as a character designer, that's what I'm passionate about. So first I'd say focus on what you're passionate about. That's what you're gonna draw the most. That's what you're gonna practice the most. If it was I don't like drawing cars. I don't like drawing animals. I love drawing characters, so that's what I practice every time I draw. I'm drawing something like that.
I have a friend in the Virgin Islands, Walden.
Okay.
He loves to draw. He has a specific type of drawing, and I'm gonna make sure he sees this video because he has the same methodology, and I think that this will be very inspiring for him. And I could tell that you have a huge portfolio.
I do. It's a lot. I draw too much. but then to answer your question, so I did portraits for 4 years.
Oh wow!
Like just straight up, hey, can you draw my grandmother? Yeah, I did that for 4 years.
That is awesome.
I can draw realistic. I can draw cartoonish. I can draw any style. That's the Illustrator side in me, where drawing different styles is the same as doing multiple. Bruce Lee had 3 teachers. He had 3 masters, right? But if you are trying to master art, don't stick with one style. If you say, oh man, realistic is hard, fill up a sketchbook with just realistic art.
I like
Don't
that.
run from what you're not comfortable with.
I like that.
You
gotta do that.
And everybody's like, oh, hands are hard. I'm like, how often do you draw hands?
Exactly.
It's like, I said they're hard. I don't draw them at all. I'm like, well, that's why they're hard. Go towards what you're uncomfortable with, but if you're trying to be a better artist, like think of it like martial arts, think of it like music. Don't just learn one style of music.
So what I'm gathering from you is what is most hardest for you is what you should strive to do.
Oh yeah.
You should try to do it more often and practice it.
Yeah. Be passionate first with what excites you about art, because that's gonna make you draw every day.
All right, man.
Don't draw what you don't like. In terms of what you wanna, if you wanna draw comics and you love Japanese animation, it's okay to study Japanese animation and Japanese comics.
Okay. So,
But if you want to get better at drawing people in those comics, you have to draw real life anatomy, learn anatomy, so you can actually then stylize it.
wow.
You know, but don't, because if you think Japanese people, they do very simple faces, right?
Yeah.
If you look at, you know, I'm looking at Luffy, they'll draw a line for the nose.
Yeah.
Simple line.
Yeah.
But don't think for a second they don't know anatomy. They know how to draw in real life.
Yeah.
They've done that, learned anatomy, and then they can stylize it.
Nice.
It's almost like learning the rules so you can break the rules. But, you know, that's the
So
trick.
what I'm gonna ask now is there a way I can follow you,
Yeah.
or is there something that you could tell me that will give me more insight to what you do, so I can follow you? Give me your socials.
Oh, yeah. Social, I'm Marcus the Visual, all one word, Marcus the Visual, on multiple social medias. I usually go live on Instagram.
Okay.
But yeah, you can see on my page, I got some live videos where I'm starting from scratch. Starting from a sketch, and I'll finish it out. It'll be 3 hours later. But you know, I like to show the process because people think it's some sort of magic, and I'm like, no, this is how I start my process. You're seeing me sketch it, so I can actually show you. Everything starts the same way. I'm not doing anything that you can't do. I had to learn how to get. I'm not talented. I was terrible back when I was a kid, so I try to show people that if you really grind for the skill, you'll get the skill eventually if you're passionate, you know, and that's what separates artists from other artists, passion. So,
Awesome.
yeah, most definitely.
All right, man.
Yeah.
It's your boy Carib Nerd. I just got schooled, and I think I'm probably gonna have to be following him to get more insight into how these drawings are made. It's your boy, holla.